All right, guys, this is video number 5 on this lesson. And if you have not watched the previous videos, you check the description of this video, then you get a link to the complete playlist on my YouTube channel. And I want to encourage you to start from the very first video, from the introduction, and then you continue. Also, please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to follow, don't forget to like, share, comment, ask your questions on the comment section. And then it will help this platform to grow, and also it will help us reach out to more people. We're out here to help a lot of people. Okay, so this is what we have created so far, our navigation. But then when you hover on this, actually nothing happened. We're going to add some hovering effect so that when we move our mouse over these navigation items, then we should note that, okay, we're touching something there. Okay, going back to our CSS, we're coming here. So I'm going to copy this selector like this, and then I bring it down here, and I put colon and then hover. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I want to change the color. So when I hover on it, I want the color to look something like the this is it red color? There is a color there. Let me use this one, this pomegranate color. So I'll select this first, and when we hover, the color should change to this. Okay, so that's good. Then another thing we need to do is I want to assign a border. I want to assign a border to this, and it's going to be 1 pixel solid. All right. The color that I want to use, that is for the border, I'm going to use this sunflower. It's going to look somehow anyway. Oh, we have a border there also. Okay, and why is because I have not specified the color for this. Okay, put this right there. And then when I hover, okay, it gives me something like this, but it's so close to the text. So I'm going to add a padding. This padding is going to be 5 pixels. Then the next thing is I want to add a border radius of 10%. Then I think that's good, right? So when we're now hovering on these menu items, we see some effects. That's good. Okay, and then I think that's good. We're good to go. The next thing we need to create now is below this. I like minimizing things so that I'll have space to work. So below this, I'm going to add text. I'm going to use headings. So in HTML, we have different headings ranging from H1, which is the highest, to, let me just put something there. We have heading 1, which is the highest, and the last is heading 6. That is, sorry. So after heading 1, the smallest is heading 6. So that is the order. Oh, fine. I wanted to create something that will, let me use H3 and then add, let me just write something there. Okay, about me on H3, and I want to put this in a container. So I'll call the container, let me just call it about me. All right, and I'll put this here. So when you check this page, you see that the text that I added is up here. Why? The simple reason is because I used a float property to float this to the left and this to the right. So let's assume that these two items are floating, which means there is a space underneath where this one is. It assumes that there is nothing here. This it passed underneath this item and this one. So there is another property we need to apply to this on CSS in order to settle this issue. So anytime you use float property, and I want to show you us the two places we used it. For the logo, we used it to the left and to the navigation to the right. So after that, the next thing you need to do is you have to apply clear property on the item next to the one that you floated. So, and that is this. What do we need to do now? We need to come over here. I will call the class about dash me, then space h3. Then I'm going to, what I'm going to do right now is I would first apply this property clear both, because the floating was on both sides. So when I do that, you see it is here, which is good. It's very nice. Then I'll continue styling. I'll put this down. So I want to put the text to the center, and text align. I'll put it to the center. That's good. And I want to put a padding of 20 pixels, and that's also good. And I want to increase the font size. I want to use okay, I mean, see if it's going to be too big as usual. So that's fine. 2am is good for me. So as usual, I said it's nice that you play around with all these values. So I'm not just going to go straight and put some values when I know it's going to work. Oh, fine, it's going to work. A lot of people will be asking themselves, oh, what if I don't want to use this value? So that's why sometimes I do as if I don't know what I'm doing, or I've just purposely make some mistakes, so that you learn at the same time how to solve some errors if you encounter any. So this is good for me. And then the font family that I used before, I remember that I used Times New Roman, Times Serif, and stuff like that. Then I'm also going to use font weight. Font weight, I can say, oh, bold, that's fine. And then it is bold. And if I don't like that, I put it to 600. You can also put it to 700 or 800, anyone you want. Put it like that. And so why you're not seeing the thing changing is because the font family used there, it has its texture. Once it is bold, okay, let's use bolder. You see, nothing changed. So once it is bold, it is bold. And then sometimes you don't really note a difference when you are changing the value of the font weight property. So the last but not least, I'm going to change this to this color. So I'll copy this and put it here. That's going to be my color for the text. Oh, something is wrong. Something is wrong. Okay, misspelled the color, typed columns. Good color. That's fine. All right, about me. Another thing I want to do here is this. I want to put a border around this, and I'm going to put a border around it. I'm just going to type in border. Sometimes you make mistake while typing, so you need not to worry yourself. When you make mistakes, then you just delete and make corrections, or you use your arrow keys to select from the suggestions. So I'm going to put 3 pixels solid, and I'm going to use this color right here, solid, and I put it here. And then before, okay, now see a problem. This is a problem. And you know why it is a problem? Is because I applied the border, and there's no way the border is not going to be around this text alone. It's going to contain all, I mean, it's going to be applied to the full box that is housing this text. You see, that's a very big challenge sometimes when we are designing web pages. So how do we solve that problem? Okay, let me take this away here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to take that away, but first I'll copy this, I'll bring it down here, put it, and let me try the hover effect that we used before. So then I'm going to move this from here, and then I will drop it here. Then when I hover, it is still the same. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? So if we want to solve this problem or do something that, okay, I need this to look like a button, it's very simple. It's very simple. Without applying the borders, they are looking so nice. But then anything that I apply on it is going to reflect on the full box. And that will take us to discuss what we call block level elements and inline elements. Block level elements are those elements that takes full width of the page. And that's exactly what we did here. So here we have two block level elements. The headings are block level elements, and the div that I used is also a block level element. Here in the HTML I used this div. This is a block level element, and this is a block level element. So it takes full width of the page. It cannot allow any other thing to start at the right or left, except you use the float method that we used on the first one. Now, I want to show us an example of inline elements. Inline elements, I'm going to copy this, give space, and I use span, and I put this inside the span. I'm going to give this span a class, and I'll call it about. All right. Then when I go to the CSS right here, I'm going to copy all this. I'm going to copy all this because I want to replicate the same. I want to replicate the same CSS styling and all those things. So this is about, and this two is about. Going back to our page, we have this, and then when I hover on it, is you see the border is not like this, and this the text alignment is not working because it's not taking the full page. So for it to be aligned, I will have to do something like this. I would come over. I can decide to put this inside a container. So sorry, let me cut it, and then just create a div element and then put it inside like this. Then when I put it, I go back to the CSS, and where is that text align? Okay, see this one here. I would have to come up here and put div. Then oh, something has gone wrong. All right, anyway, later on I'm going to solve this, but what I want to show you is this is inline level element, and then I can decide to add other things beside it, which is going to work fine. But block level element takes full width, inline level element takes only the space that is sufficient for the contents. So if I increase the text in the span, I put something like this, now hover, the box is not going to exceed the content within the span. And I can as well come over here and say, okay, I can add something like this. How about, don't mind what I'm typing, I'm just trying to do one or two things. So you see, this is on the same line with this, and I can as well add other content in front. Come in here, just put some text there. You see, they can be in front, but when it comes to this, if I type something here, you see it is coming to a new line, so it cannot actually share this line with a block level element. You can share a line with a block level element except to assign a width or whatever. So if you put any other thing in front of a block level element or on the same line, it's going to take a new line. That's exactly how it's going to be. But inline level elements is going to stay on the same line until the width is filled up before it goes to a new line, or you use what we call a line break. Okay, guys, I'm going to clean up all these. I'm going to clean up all this. Then to the CSS, I'm going to clean up this as well. Okay. So I just did that to show us what a block level element is, and then what an inline level element is. So what I can actually do here to solve a problem is I'm going to assign a width property. Width property here, maybe I put something like 20%. When I put 20%, now it has reduced the width of the container, and I can now decide maybe to use margin auto to see if it can be at the center of the page. Yes. So it's no longer taking full width because I reduced the width. I controlled the width from the default width, which is 100%. I reduced it to 20%. And then it gives us something like this. So you can decide to reduce it from 20 to maybe something like, okay, 10 may be too small, reduce it to something like 15. Okay, and that's good. Then you begin to, style it, maybe add some radials and then some other background stuff on this. So I'm going to pause this class here. What have we learned? First of all, we have learned about headings. I told us we have headings from heading 1, which is the biggest, the largest, to heading 6, which is the smallest. And I want to refer you to W3 School website where you can read about headings in HTML. Headings are used to, I mean, like if you have a document, you want to write an article, you use it to highlight the points. Maybe to highlight the points on your article to help the readers glance through it. It gives idea of what the paragraphs are all about. So what we do here now is we have learned that we can use headings 1 to 6 to create any of the headings that you want. And what I use here is heading 3. So if I change this to heading 1, this text is going to look bigger than this. And also we have learned about block level elements that takes full width, and then inline elements that only occupies the space necessary for the contents. Now, in our next lesson, we're going to continue with this. Thank you, and see you in the next class. Bye.